In this video, I'm doing a quick review of the Fini Advanced Air Compressor. This is a 5-gallon air compressor, 1.5 horsepower, and it does have a couple of cool things about it that I like. First of all, it's very small and very light. It has a universal motor on it instead of your standard split phase induction motor or whatever they are. And one of the cool things about that is the higher RPMs makes the tanks charge up a lot quicker. This thing does put out quite a bit of air for its size, and I'm going to go ahead and point out some of the things that I don't like about it that I wish I knew before I bought it. And one of those, the main things, is it doesn't have a 100% duty cycle. What that means is you can run it 5 minutes and then you have to let it cool off 5 minutes. So it's for intermittent use only. So if you're going to be running this thing continuously for long periods of time, apparently it could fry itself. But they also say it's permalube. They leave you to believe it's permanently lubricated. Well, it actually has a dipstick. And any piston is going to leak a little bit of oil into the stream there. So you're going to have to check the oil on this thing. So don't buy it thinking that you don't have to lubricate it. This one was made in China. This is not the Italian Fini, the high quality stuff. It does have 2 regulators. So if you wanted to run 2 different tools at a different pressure, which does happen a lot if you're using trim guns and stuff like that. For a trim job, this thing would be amazing. Can tell you that right now. I'm going to fire it up and show you how fast it airs up to 150 psi's, which is pretty awesome in itself. So let's take a look at it. So here we go. All right, fellas, so to get to 100 psi's, we were looking at 1 minute exactly, and 1 minute and 52 seconds to get to 150 psi's. Hey guys, so we got some really interesting findings here. We got 2 horsepower is the actual rating, and 1.8 horsepower is central pneumatic. So there's some fraud going on here with central pneumatic, and Fini Advanced is doing the better thing and derating theirself. Typically that's done to avoid being sued. She's hot. Pretty cool that it hits 150 psi's. I do like how light it is, and it is a pretty powerful little air compressor. It's also not loud, in my opinion. It's kind of loud. It's not as loud as that thing. Okay guys, so this one takes 1 minute and 17 seconds to hit 100 psi, which is 17 seconds slower than the Fini Advanced, and it takes 1 minute and 44 seconds to fill the full tank up. It's an 8-gallon tank, which is bigger, and it does it a little bit quicker than the Fin Super, but it's lower pressure. It was only going to 120 on this thing. It had an 8-second difference, basically. All right, guys, so what we're looking at here is a air flow gauge that was attached to both of these air compressors and ran at full valve on this oil nozzle that I've built here. And both of these units run at about 2.5 cubic foot per minute. This is rated at 2 horsepower, and this is rated at 1.5 horsepower. Now, typically a good company will derate their equipment to avoid being sued by people who put the equipment to the test. Infinity is a good example of that. My car is rated at 300 horsepower, and it's actually 330 horsepower. The other side of the spectrum being scandalous manufacturers, which I'm kind of ticked off that they're telling me this was a 2 horsepower air compressor, and it's absolutely not a 2 horsepower air compressor. It's not. Maybe they rated it some other way than I did, but as far as current draw goes, this thing consumes less electricity than this. And I'll have to double check the video of the flow rate test. This compressor may have actually put out a little bit more air, and I just wasn't paying close enough attention because this thing isn't graduated very well at all, in my opinion. I'll have to go back and check that video out. That's very interesting. This is actually a 2 horsepower compressor. That is a 1.8 horsepower compressor. Huh. Interesting.